This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb Point. I'm editor-in-chief of the Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams, staff reporter at the Post. It is Friday, March 13, 2026.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, well, if you believe in that kind of thing. Well, it was a pretty decent movie series.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty decent week of college basketball here. For the most part, I think, especially last night with the Atlantic Coast Conference in town and a pair of nail biters at the end with Duke and North Carolina on opposite ends of 80 to 79 decisions.
Yeah, both North Carolina teams that played in the night session got their fair share of the little spooky scaries. You mentioned Duke was on the winning end of a 80 to 79 result against a Florida State team who really has been one of the hottest teams in the conference of the last 2 to 3 weeks. Showed why in their opening game 2 days ago now. They absolutely demolished Cal, and I even told folks at the tournament when the betting line opened for Duke as an 18.5-point favorite, I'm like, they're not going to come close to covering that. Now, Duke is without two starters, and this is their first full game without both of those guys on the floor in Caleb Foster and Patrick Ngongba. Both one a starting point guard, the other their starting center. And it took Duke a while to really find kind of what worked schematically with their rotation, but ultimately it resulted in a buzzer beater failed attempt by FSU at the end of the game. And all the Duke fans in the arena that were, sweating that one let out a nice sigh at the end. And then the second game of the nightcap starts, and it's Clemson and North Carolina. North Carolina looked dead to rights about midway, just shy of midway through the second half, down 18 points with roughly 13 minutes to go. And I'm thinking to myself, I can go ahead and start right. This will be a short-lived one. Carolina found a way to fight back, and they're without their star in Caleb Wilson, who fractured his other hand. He had been out due to a hand injury on his right hand, I believe, or it might be left hand. Regardless, the second injury, he injured his other hand, and he's going to be out the remainder of the year. But now the ACC is over for the Tar Heels, so all eyes will shift towards the NCAA tournament. They're projected to get around a 5 or 6 seed, so we'll see kind of where they'll end up falling. But tonight, Duke and Clemson, who's going to win it? And the spread's 10.5. I tend to think that Clemson can cover that. Duke, right now, they're just in a feeling out phase because there's something to be said about losing two starters, but you really have to kind of figure out things on the fly. And I know Coach Shire for the Blue Devils, he's expecting to get Ngongba back, their starting center, before the NCAA tournament. But Foster, the way it's looking right now, might be second weekend at the absolute earliest or Final Four if they can get there without him.
Well, I would look at it like this. You're going to find out exactly what Duke is tonight.
Yeah.
If you are supposedly loaded with the best roster in America, well, then you should play like it. And if not, well, you're going to get exposed. And so Clemson, I think, is in a unique position to really show us what Duke is made of.
There's still something to be said about missing two starters. You take any team in America and take two starters off their team right now, heading into March Madness and any conference tournament. I'm not just defending Duke because it's Duke. Any team in America would struggle missing two starters right now. Anyone of Michigan, Arizona,
absolutely,
any of them.
Absolutely. But then again, you also recruit for depth, right?
They've got it,
but can it play is what we're.
Do you really want a 10-man rotation in March?
If they can all play,
guys like Darren Harris, Nick Homenya, guys that are rotational on the bench for this team played. You got to understand, guys like Malik Brown, who 6th Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, he's usually coming off the bench. He's having to start in place of Ngongba. Mm-hmm. Caden Boozer, the backup point guard, he's having to start in place of Foster. You've got depth. Now that the depth is forced to start, so there's a lack of depth.
Well,
you got a 10 to 11 man roster, and some of the guys that are walk-ons and not even on scholarship. Now you're down 2 of those, so you're having to shrink your rotation. You can have depth, but your rotation is still strong.
All right, so then you would agree that there's a difference between depth and winning depth.
No team in America this year has winning depth.
Okay, well, then that's why we are going to find out what Duke is.
I think you're a wee too cynical.
No.
Because
that's not cynicism.
Again,
that's not cynicism. That's just for the entire season. There have been those conversations about who's best team in the country and stuff like that. Of course, you're never going to find out until you actually play in a tournament, and maybe even then one bad night and you're done.
You're not going to find out because Duke's got injuries.
Well, but that's the other side of the point. But all you can do is play what's in front of you. And Duke is going to have to roll out with what it has.
But I don't think that is...
Figure it out.
I don't think you're getting a true picture of what that team is made of if they're not at full go. So you say, we can find out what they're made of. You're finding out what they're made of playing their 8th and 9th guys minute numbers that your 6th and 7th guy might get. That's not the same team at all.
But is Duke not the deepest team in the conference? Who has a deeper team, top to bottom, on the roster?
I mean, none of Clemson's players last night got in double figures, but I think 7 or 8 of them all pitched in and scored and contributed. I mean, there's depth on a lot of teams. I'm just saying you're not going to see a true picture, and you're not going to see what they're made of because it's not a true they. They're not at full strength.
I think we can all agree that Duke isn't Duke without those 2 players.
Yeah.
And so even if Duke isn't Duke, it's still Duke. And so you're going to give all the credit if Duke runs out here and blasts everybody out of the water and wins it. It's like, look, we can whip you without starters. So,
but I don't think that's going to be the case.
So, as my man Denzel Washington said in one of his best movies, when you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. So there you go.
What was that? Remember the Titans? What movie is that?
No, it wasn't Remember the Titans.
What movie is that? Even you're blanking on it, aren't you?
No, not necessarily. But yes, I am.
Okay.
Because I'm overthinking. Wait a minute.
Well, back to the question. Back to the question. Who's winning this game? Clemson or Duke?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to take Duke, actually.
I think Duke can win. I mean, if I had to pick on the money
Equalizer.
line. Okay. That's a good movie, too.
Yeah, see, there you go.
That is a really good movie. I digress. I would have to pick the Blue Devils, too, if I had to just take a winner. But, boy, I think this game could be sneakily close again and have all the Duke fans in the Spectrum Center's heart, their watches saying, your heartbeat, check your heart rate. I think it could be a good one. I think this game could be low scoring. Hence why the over-under set at 132. Both teams pride themselves on defense. And I'm pretty sure metrically, or that's not even a word, but based on the metrics, these 2 teams have the top 2 defenses in the conference, so could be a good one. Duke did beat Clemson 67-54 or 60. I think it was a 14-point margin, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in February. And one key point about this game, 67-54, so 13. Caleb Foster only had 3 points. Patrick Gongba only had 6. They still whooped that tar.
That's it. And there you are, proving my point.
I mean, I'm just saying.
You're proving my point. You're going to give them all the praise. Oh, we can do it one hand behind our back.
But
if you lose.
But they were still a part of the lineup. There's something to be said, even if your guys aren't necessarily scoring a ton, their impact's still being felt in other ways. Defensive thing. Well, Foster especially. Foster defensively is, I'd say one of the top 3 guards in the Atlantic Coast Conference. What he's able to do on ball defense wise, it's different. So even if he's only scoring 3 points, he's affecting the game in different ways. I would take Duke. I don't want to get too long-winded on the ACC. It is tonight. And in the other game, I'm going to take Virginia in a close one.
Mm-hmm.
You think the Canes can do it, or do you think?
I do.
You're going to pick Miami?
No, I just said I think they can do it.
Okay. So are we in agreement? It should be, after tonight, it's going to be 1-2 Virginia or Duke and Virginia for the championship tomorrow night. You're going to take 3-seeded Canes.
Give me Miami. I love an upset.
Well, go put that in on DraftKings or FanDuel and make you some money because they are the underdog. Slight underdog, but they are the underdog.
I think it's going to be a pair of really good games. I think the Duke-Clemson game, if it works out the way I would anticipate, it'll be a lower scoring slobber knocker of a game, and whoever can ignite some offense is going to pull away and win it with some ease. But I wouldn't necessarily put it past Clemson to, and maybe that would just be the biggest basketball win for Clemson in quite some time. But yeah, we'll find out.
Well, I'll say this before we go on and move on to our next college hoops topic. I'll say this about this Virginia-Miami game. It's a tale of 2 different types of styles. Miami has played in some higher scoring games. They like to get out and run, and they do it pretty well. Virginia, the slow, methodical, really wear you down, take shots with about 5 seconds left on the shot clock, every possession type team. And maybe that's carried over from the Tony Bennett era to the Ryan Odom era, but it's still working. I mean, they're 28-4 and 15-3 in the conference, so whatever they're doing is working, and they're top 10 in the nation. I just think this Miami team, if they can, my coin term, if they can out-athlete them, and start forcing this game into the mid to upper 70s, it could turn the Hurricanes' way.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. Now, as far as the other college basketball squad,
we would be remiss not to talk about Charlotte.
Especially since they won.
Not just one big.
Well, yeah, it didn't look that way in the first half, but lo and behold, it worked out fairly well for them in the second.
What's that phrase? You had me in the first half? Well, Tulane did. In the American Conference in Birmingham, covering it remotely, since obviously the ACC is here in town, but can't forget the Niners. They won by 14 over Tulane, who just a few weeks ago had another close game. This game wasn't close. Wasn't the first half, like you mentioned. Charlotte could not have shot the ball worse in the first half. I guess
they wouldn't have tried.
I guess technically you could,
yeah.
But it was the worst field goal percentage all season long by the 49ers. I think it was 17-something%. I mean, it was bad. But, I mean, it wasn't like Tulane was burning the nets either. I mean, they scored 20 points. The over-under on this game was 144.5, and it was a golly-whopping 38 points scored in the first half.
That's terrible.
But Charlotte comes out, and what better way to hit the reset button than to shoot the best percentage in the American Conference tournament's history in a half. Yeah. 77.4?
Yeah.
Really great game all around in the second half by the Niners. I mean, you can't get much better than what they did. Ben Bradford really just put on a great display. Shot 9 of 16, 29 points, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. Really great outing by him. And then point guard, point guard, combo guard, but Dezane Mingo played like a point guard. 11 assists, which is a career high. Anton Bonk didn't do much as far as scoring, but gobbled up lots of rebounds, 16 boards. Really great win by Fern and Company.
Yeah, I think this is what Aaron Fern wanted to see more of during the season, but they've been so up and down that I don't even know how in the world they managed to pull this one out. Because, you would have thought that after shooting so poorly in the first half, they just would say, you know what, let's just pack up and get out of here. But they stuck around, and maybe the coach had a few words at halftime, some wisdom to impart, and it stuck with his charges, and they went right on out and played the half of their lives. Now the question is, impress us. Do it again.
Yeah. They play a UAB team who's got a de facto home game. I mean, it is in Birmingham, in the University of Alabama, Birmingham, playing in Birmingham. And in a way, if you're a higher seed like Wichita State or South Florida, I would be very happy about that. And I get, I mean, the ACC is similar in the fact that, you've got a bunch of North Carolina schools in the ACC, and, well, they play right down the road in Charlotte. But this right here, you're in their backyard.
Literally.
I mean, this would be like playing the ACC tournament in Raleigh or something. But it'll be interesting. UAB did beat Charlotte 80-74. What, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? So familiarity. Fern talked post game after the Tulane win last night about how you got to make a few adjustments and stuff. UAB is going to throw all kinds of different looks at them defensively. So it's nice to have it for a team to be fresh in your mind, though. So I want to get your thoughts. Who do you think wins this game? And is it the end of the Niners' run, or do they get to the semis?
End of the run.
Ooh, man, that was blunt.
End of the run. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would really be impressed if they could come out and do that again. But UAB is going to have the home crowd behind them. It's no doubt in my mind that folks in Birmingham will show up to support the home team because it's good for business. And I don't necessarily trust the 49ers to be able to string together that kind of consistency over multiple games, over multiple nights in a row.
No.
I just don't see it.
I mean, if I had to be honest, I don't either, but I do think that having familiarity with your opponent's a good thing. Knowing kind of what they're doing towards the end of the season, having played them later in the season, is a good thing. You can't have the scoring droughts. That can't happen anymore. In this game, a few weeks ago, Charlotte was up. 9 minutes to go, they were up 60-52, and things just kind of start to trend in the wrong direction. You're up 64-59 with 6 minutes to go, and things really start to go in the wrong direction, and the scoring drought starts. UAB takes a substantial lead. Then Charlotte's finding themselves trying to claw back into it. I just think you need to get off to a quick start. You can't have a start like you did against Tulane, because I don't think UAB is going to have a start like Tulane did either.
Yeah.
I think the consistency factor. Channel whatever it is you found in the second half. Let it motivate you. Now, the weirdest thing about this tournament, you played a 7 o'clock game last night, and you turn around, you play the 1 p.m. game today.
Absolutely.
Woo! Boy, I hope them boys iced up.
Well, but that's tournament ball for you.
Yeah, but not really. Usually it's a 24-hour thing. You do play day after day. Then I get as the rounds advance, like sometimes your early games usually will play later the next day, or your later games will play just ever so slightly earlier. But 7 p.m. tip, now you play the first game today.
Well, how much sleep are you going to need?
It's not necessarily about sleep. Your body, you're done with that game at what, 9:30. By the time you get treatment, you're getting re-nourished and all this stuff. You turn around, you hit the bed. Then you got to get up, get ready, roll out, head to the arena, start practicing, start walkthroughs. That's not easy.
Well, it's easier if you're 18 to 22.
Well, yeah.
If you're 32 to 42, let's put it like that.
Sure, but I'm just saying, I think the conference could have done a little bit better by the players and not. And I get a lot of this stuff has to do with TV deals.
Absolutely.
And
that's the great driver.
Well, look what the ACC did. The 1 seed in the ACC historically has always had the noon game in the quarterfinal. They put the 2 and the 3 seeds in the morning cap because the nightcap, they wanted Duke and Carolina for that money.
Mm-hmm. And your point?
Well, John Shire wasn't very happy about it.
His point?
His point is very valid.
Well,
don't just change stuff because TV talks. It's the way it's been done. It's the way it should be done. The one seed should get the most rest.
Uh-huh.
Why are you playing for a conference regular season if it's not to get the one seed? Because it used to mean something.
Well, you know what? When you talk about these billion-dollar deals in TV land, all those things that are tradition, a lot of that is going to go goodbye, and it has.
Well, riddle me this. Yes, everyone understands TV money drives a lot of stuff. But what are you playing for in the regular season if it's not for a regular season banner if you're Chapel Hill? No one talks about the regular season champions. It's all about the conference tournament. But what are you playing for in the regular season? To get the top seed, so you're playing at noon, and then you're playing a little bit later the next day against a team with less rest. See, now you're playing against, if Duke wins today, they would be the top seed, and they would end up playing Virginia or Miami, who would have more rest than them as a lower seed.
Well, let's look at it this way.
I bring up a good point.
You're playing for that regular season championship to get to prime time. Forget the advantages that you mentioned. You're playing for prime time now.
It's still valid.
It can be valid all you want. But the reality is what you are now playing for is primetime television. Come on, church. Let's get with it.
What do you mean playing for primetime television?
That's what you're playing for. Okay.
Duke gets primetime TV all the time. They want that one seed so they get the rest.
And the TV folks
don't care.
That's right. And they want Duke. They want that number one seed in prime time. Forget what Duke wants. TV wants Duke on prime time.
Michigan's the top seed in the Big Ten, and they're playing right now. It's 12-19.
Well, what the Big Ten is doing and what the ACC are doing, that's up to their leadership. I'm just saying.
Bring up a good point.
But you know what? But the Big Ten isn't on ESPN.
Okay.
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 Let's move on to the NBA, shall we?
Yeah, the Bugs are on the road because the Spectrum Center's taken up all week.
But that happens.
Yeah.
That happens. And they're 2-1 after a couple of fairly impressive wins.
The Portland comeback was impressive to me. Mm-hmm. I won't lie to you. Thought they were down and out in that game. I looked on my phone the next morning because I went to bed. I'll be the first to admit it. And that's all they won. I was like, good job, Charlotte. Sacramento took them a little bit long-ish time to kind of get off the launching pad, but once they did, I never thought that game was going to really get within striking distance for the Kings, although, man, DeMar DeRozan, he turned back the clock, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He's Hall of Famer to be.
And he will be. But the Phoenix game never could really, they would score, and it's just like they would hit a drought. And defensively, it wasn't like they were playing bad defense. Phoenix was just hitting shots. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can't beat a hot shooting team. And I think that was a lot to do with that loss. LaMelo Ball did have 22. Sometimes you're just going to lose to a hot shooting team. And that's why in the NBA, you play playoff series and not just one-offs, because I think if Charlotte plays Phoenix maybe 10 times, they probably win 7 of them.
Probably. But they didn't that night.
No.
And so I think it was just a good wake-up call. And it was a call to do better defensively, because there were those lapses where it's like, well, you know what? Just not in position to do anything. But sometimes I think it's, regardless of where you play, you move your feet to play defense. And the Hornets didn't do a good enough job of getting themselves in position to do that against Phoenix. They made the adjustments. They've won 2 straight. They're going over to San Antonio, where Victor Wembanyama may or may not play. But in essence, even without him, San Antonio's a really good team.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at what they did last night.
They make do without.
They lost, but they still put up 131 points without him.
Well,
I mean, the Nuggets
also says they also gave up a bunch of points.
Well, sure,
him.
That's a good. I mean, it's a very valid point, but still, I mean, that game was in the 260s, the upper 260s. The Nuggets had 136 points. I mean, Nikola Jokic, he's 31 and 20.
The man out there.
With no Wembanyama in there to grab the rebounds, Jokic was like, let me just like picking apples off the tree.
Yeah, well, he's
20 boards.
Probably the world's best player. You can have an argument, but he's going to be in it.
He's the best, and quite frankly, he should be MVP. He should have been MVP last year. No diss to SGA, but you can score a lot of points. But Joker scores a lot of points and does everything. Yeah, he had a 31, 20, and 12 triple-double.
That's why he's the man out there.
I mean, it's unbelievable just how effortless he makes the game look. But kind of bringing things back to Charlotte, you don't need to give up 131 points, that's for sure. But San Antonio has shown vulnerability when you don't have a guy that's 7'4" in the middle with an 8-foot wingspan blocking shots. You can score on this team.
Well, yeah.
Clearly,
it makes it a little easier.
I don't think I've seen any game lines, Vegas lines for it yet, but I'm sure I would project this game maybe San Antonio -5, 5.5. They'd probably be a 5-point favorite, give or take. Being at the Spurs, and that's without Wembanyama. With Wembanyama, maybe 7.5, 8.5. But I think Charlotte can give them a run for their money. I really do. They beat them at home. I know playing in San Antonio is different. There's something to be said about certain arenas, and towards the late 90s and early part of the 2000s, San Antonio quickly became one of those arenas. It's just playing there, playing in LA and Boston, New York. There's just something to be said about that. But I'm going to predict the Spurs to win a close one, but the Hornets to have a shot at it in the final couple minutes.
Regardless of the outcome, this has been a successful road trip.
You think?
The Hornets,
if they go 2-2, really? I thought 3-1. I really thought
3-1 would have been outstanding, but 2-2, at least you're treading water. And at this stage of the season, that is maybe all you can ask for a 4-game.
Yeah, but no one around Charlotte's really losing either. I mean, Atlanta.
That's part of the issue.
Yeah, and then Miami, and Bam Adebayo's record-breaking whatever performance the other night.
A record. It's slid him up to number 2.
Yeah, as unethical as that was, and we're not going to get into all that. But you take 43 free throws, that game gets an asterisk. But I digress. Kobe Bean still. That performance was still better, and I will die on that hill. But Hornets, 2-2 is a decent road trip.
Yeah, and now we get down to the real nitty-gritty of the season. We're talking about, 14, 15 games left in the regular season. Yep. Who will collapse and lose out on either a playoff berth or the play-in berth? So you've got the Hornets, you've got Atlanta, you've got Orlando, you've got a bunch of teams that are jockeying for space one way or the other. And I think this is going to be a really good maturity check for the Hornets in order to see not only can they hang on to 10th, but maybe start to move up a little bit where they could get that 7th spot, maybe.
Well, Miami has positioned themselves into 6th now. Toronto has fallen back into 7th. So you've got the Raptors, the Hawks, the Sixers, and the Hornets. Milwaukee is 6 games back with Charlotte. So you've got wiggle room, but let's not try to use that too much.
Yeah, it's a thin edge.
It is, and I mean, do I think Charlotte's going to fall out? No. Knock on wood. But I don't think there's a route for them to move up to 6th anymore.
Yeah, probably not. Not enough games left, and somebody has to have a massive collapse.
But there's something to be said about 7th or 8th, though, because then 7th plays the 10th, and that will be Raptors and Hornets. But having the home advantage in that little round robin thing, I think that would be beneficial. You see, a game and a half back of Philly and Atlanta. And wait, hold on, no, that's 14, yeah. And then you're 3 games back of Toronto.
That's going to be tough.
Getting to 8th isn't unforeseeable. 7th might be tough, but get to 7 or 8. That would be my biggest thing. If you can get to 7 or 8, you position yourself a lot better. And then who knows? Because then if you're the 7th or 8th and you win, then, or I believe it's the 7th, if you win, you get the number 2 seed, which is Boston. Or if you're 8 and win, you know how the round robin works.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need to take the next few very lightly, because then you got Miami back at home after San Antonio. The way the Heat play against the Hornets is just unbelievable sometimes.
Yeah, it's just hard to figure, but the Hornets need to do it. So we'll see. We'll see. In the meantime, go to our website, thecharlottepost.com, become a donor or a subscriber. Subscribe to our sports newsletter, which comes out every Thursday with curated reporting in the house. Panthers, Hornets, college sports, you name it, it's there. And also, if you're watching us on YouTube, click the bell so you can get the alert whenever the new episode drops. So for everybody at our office in beautiful Derrida, that's Cam, I'm Herb. Thanks for watching and listening.